Okay, so I am going to share about this spiritual medicine path journalism that I am doing right now. And it kind of happened organically. It's been something that I've been tuning into and reflecting on for myself and wanting to share it with others who feel interested to hear. And so today it started off with a deep conversation with a few coffee cafe workers. And we were talking about what is happening in Tulum. What are the different layers energetically, socially, politically, culturally, and how are they interacting and how are they making up the potential that is here right now? I feel like Tulum is a very interesting place, and I'm I have a general idea and certain conclusions that are being formulated and put into words. And at the same time, I'm seeing that Tulum is a land of potential. And I feel like the times right now are the times of potential where conclusions can't really be solidified. And um, a reminder popped up. Conclusions can't really be solidified, and the invitation is more so to solidify in potential, to conclude on potential. A sister friend and I were talking the other week, several weeks ago, and we were talking about how right now the times are so that everything is changing so rapidly that something that was as is a week ago is completely different now. And we were both being asked to hold things lightly and also be very open and flexible to that changing. And Tulum as a place feels like it really teaches that and really embodies that. So, back to the energetic layers, the multi layered experience of Tulum. So, what is happening in Tulum? And so, I'll give a little review of my experience. Um, so, Tulum, the culture in Tulum, there are masters here spiritually and energetically who are deep in their wisdom, deep in their embodiment, and deep in their integrity as they're teaching what they know. And then there are also people who are very curious and on their spiritual path. And then there are also people who are very curious and on their spiritual path, came here for the spiritual mystery, um, to learn from these masters, to learn the land. And then there are all of the other people that are here as well. And it's to generalize, there are people that aren't so interested in this, and it's to generalize, there are people that aren't so interested in the spiritual journey. But at the same time, it feels like the New York of spirituality, in that Tulum feels like the New York of spirituality, where it feels like it has the potential to be the future Atlantis, the future Lemuria, where people who are on the path and very deep in their path come here to congregate and to be in communion. And I wonder whether or not they're like actively in ceremony and in communion, like for those people who aren't necessarily spiritual or practicing. TikTok is strange. I'm not really sure what it's asking me to. It's inviting me to co-host, but I'm going to decline for right now to continue this thread. Okay. This is all practice. This is my first time doing a live, and I wanted to get this thread of musings out because it's really interesting, and I feel like there's a lot to be learned about Tulum, Mexico, and I'm talking about Tulum, Mexico to further clarify it being a hub for growth spiritually and a hub for growth in the self-development area. So it's interesting because what I was asking the cafe workers about were the stores that were right next to them that were empty. And I was asking why it was empty, where the owners were, are they coming back? Why it was kind of like a ghost town. And they were sharing how Tulum about 3-4 years ago was extremely popular. It was extremely trendy. The whole Instagram app and all of the influencers made Tulum extremely popular. And so there was this influx of people. Also, COVID made Tulum very popular because people were escaping the COVID restrictions in America and finding cheaper places to live a more free life. And so Tulum blew up, and many people moved here, bought property here, and essentially established a base. And because of that, all of these businesses came. After several years of that, when the COVID restrictions calmed down in America, many of these people left. And so right now, there is this kind of question mark in the field of what is Tulum going to be in the future. A lot of people have been talking about how right now is the lowest season that they've had. Typically during the summer season for America, most of the expats and even the local Mexican tourists don't typically come here because it's super hot. And then there's the sargassum, which is the seaweed that come on the beaches that make it unpleasant to swim. And so low season is the summer season, but this is the lowest season that they've had. And so a lot of people are just kind of in a waiting area, figuring out what is the potential of Tulum. I feel like Tulum's rampage, when it got super popular with the Instagram influencers, made it so Tulum was put on the map for other people to venture and find their way here that are going to make it a new spiritual hub. It has been a spiritual hub for a long time. It started off that way, and about 20 years ago it was much more holistic and less commercialized. Right now they're navigating with a lot of cartel interactions and the political system here that's prioritizing profit over land and over anything else. And so the holistic, more grounded spirituality isn't as in your face as it was 20 years ago, but it's still very strong. The land here is very prevalent with magic. There's so much magic here. And the liminal realms in Tulum are very present. The manifestation is extremely rapid. I feel like now in general, everyone is waking up to their manifestation. Everyone is waking up to their creatrix self and are practicing these skills. Tulum is one of those places where the veils are so thin that the land helps you learn that. The land exacerbates and amplifies that learning and that of instant manifestation. So yeah, the land here, regardless of what happens in terms of being socially popular or not, it's a powerful place and it's a potent place that has a lot of magic that it that is available to the people that are here. And so the conversation that I was having with the cafe workers was about how here it's really interesting because the Mayan ancestry is utilized to entice people to come visit. And so they'll have, similar to Hawaii hotels, where they'll have indigenous dancers sing and perform their ancestral practices and ceremonies. They'll do that here in the different hotels and the different establishments. And a lot of establishments even have the traditional Mayan names for their hotel names and establishment names. And they'll have different dancers come in. They'll have almost like every establishment has someone with a copal come and clear their space. And so with that, I had initially made the assumption that because they were bringing these ancestral traditions into these spaces, they were also in good relationship with the Mayans that they were working with, and giving back in reciprocity, essentially. And hi, my love. Good to see you. This is my first time doing this. Okay, continuing on. So, yes, so I had the assumption that they were in right relationship with the Mayans that were coming in and doing ceremony and sharing their beautiful practices and doing the clearing work. And I've come to find out that the whole notion of reciprocity is not a thing at all. Granted, I understand that there are exceptions, and I'm sure a few owners here and there who are giving back to the community, whether it's nonprofit or just financial donations. But it seems like the majority of the scene here prioritizes profit and doesn't have any thought of right relationship and reciprocity when it comes to giving back to the indigenous folks that this amazing place is kind of enriching, taking over. So it was, and this feels silly to have made that assumption, but I was kind of just in very big disbelief because of how prevalent the Mayan ancestry is here with all of the Mayan names, with all of the practices. That's all that you see. So my thing was like, how can that presence be so strong and really what a lot of people are enlivened by and so passionately excited about? How could that be without them being paid forward, without them being given back to, them being paid forward, without them being given back to. Um, and then I had to go down this whole rabbit hole of healing disbelief. And that is a really interesting concept of recognizing that these past few years, and I feel like within the collective consciousness It even goes to the various conversations that I've had with people about just being in such disbelief and I guess dissonance, mental dissonance of not understanding how something can be that just doesn't make sense. For me as a person, like that hurts just to think of not acknowledging the beauty of an indigenous culture that you are using for profit. And so there was this whole journey of acceptance that I was on while I was riding my motorbike back from that conversation of recognizing like, oh shit, like we're really still in colonized times. And I'm mindful with the word colonization because I feel like I come from, my family is very big in the academic world, not like well known, but they um, have that as a pedestal. And I feel like the academic world talks about colonization in a way that I don't fully resonate with. So I'm mindful with how I use that. And I'm seeing how here in Tulum, we are really seeing the effects of colonization and it's right in our face. There's no way that you can ignore it because you see the people that have been pushed out and that are literally and actively being used as for profit for these hotels and these establishments to make profit. But these establishments, these foreign owners aren't necessarily, some are, but not in general. And there is very little in the conversation to ensure that these Mayan folks are taken care of. I've spoken to a few people from the Mayan ancestry, and they're really sweet and generous with what they share about their culture. And obviously, they don't speak for their whole culture. I was in several conversations about like how do they accept this? How is this acceptable? Like, how are they managing what's going on in this place? I love you, Antoine. Um, and so, what a few of the people that responded were talking about how it's like this magic of invisibility. That some of the indigenous Mayan wisdom keepers, like the way that they felt like they could survive was by going along with the program in a way and not resisting. And so if they didn't resist, they wouldn't be killed off. And essentially anchoring in peaceful ways of navigating for survival. And it made me think of like the Harry Potter movie, The Cloak of Invisibility, because they are one of the cultures in South America. This is North America, but in South America and North America that have retained their language, and language is the key to cultural survival. And whereas other cultures in Argentina, for example, a brother was sharing how where he's from, there was a fighter, a warrior fighter, indigenous community that fought to keep their space and land, and a lot of them were killed off. And so he was saying how the folks here, they utilize the opposite technique of being steeped in peace so that they can survive and that they could navigate through colonization and not be completely wiped off. Yeah, he was speaking about how they're extremely calm, peaceful, humble people, and that that the meek, it's right now is the time where the meek will be given the earth. And it's right now is the time where the meek will be given the earth. And it's showing itself. Ah, goodness, it was a whole journey. It was a whole journey of accepting, of healing disbelief, and I guess mental dissonance, and yeah, recognizing that shit is getting real. Like right now, it's really getting real. And listen, though, here is the thing. Okay, so I am all about the medicine of oneness and all about the medicine of potential. Like energetically, I know that we are on the up and up. Like the fact that there is no way that God doesn't win. Like God has already won. Like there isn't a battle against God, because who and what can ever fight God, right? So, and so what I'm understanding and always reminding myself is that in this is okay, is that that can be true, and this 3D world of people suffering and unfair treatment also can exist at the same time. And I feel like what I'm currently navigating is that I can hold both truths at the same time and really honor both truths at the same time. Honor the truth that on the energetic and true, like foundational aspect of reality, everything is literally perfect. Like all of this is unconditional love. All of this is a manifestation of God. And God really doesn't have a judgment of what is good and bad. And so it's understanding that and being in that place, like on the quantum level, and then also honoring my heart and my human self that sees this human situation and is just like, oof, that hurts. And that is not something that my heart likes. And so it's navigating these two, and even those words that I just shared, I feel like the dance, the quantum dance, is about being able to say that but not letting those words entangle my energetic body and my heart to be any place else that isn't that place of unconditional love with God, with truth. Um, and I feel like that is with everything that we're about to see, in that non-reactivity is going to probably be crucial as the world is being healed, because we'll probably be seeing a lot more than just this. And so recognizing, and I I wrote I shared a video on my YouTube about non-reactivity, about holding truth lightly and holding conviction lightly. And I'm going to probably do another video on non-reactivity, but um, yeah, that's where I feel like non-reactivity is a really big spiritual, the it's the dance of paradox, and um, it's a very big spiritual teaching that I've had in my life, and coming back to over and over and over again, that I can hold two truths at the same time, and to not let my heart and my energetic body be taken all over the place with various things that I see that can be seen as bad or good. So Thank you. Wanted to get that thread out there. And this is my beginning of starting to share more regularly. So I'll start sharing every day. That's my commitment with this spiritual journalism, medicine path journalism, what I'm experiencing and seeing, and the different conversations that I've been having with my fellow medicine sisters and medicine brothers, of really understanding the behind of the scenes of the medicine path, and how we're all perceiving what's happening in the world, and getting everyone's different perspective, because I do feel like we all have a piece of the puzzle, and truth is so layered. Truth is really multidimensional. There's absolutely no way that one person can have a monopoly on truth. And the person's sharing on truth comes from their personal history, their emotions in that moment in time, how clear they are, their past experiences. So, yeah, I've been really enjoying getting people's different perspectives on what's happening with Tulum, and really trying to hold all of that gently, recognizing that that may be their personal experience and not the full truth. And so, I think I've spoken to more than 12 people, and I'm going to speak to a whole bunch more, and keep this thing going of understanding the pulse that is Tulum, the energetic layers, the multi layers of this land, how they're interacting, and and how they're going. So, thank you all for watching and being here. Love to you, Antoine. I love you, and yeah, feel free to share anything that you feel like sharing, and I will hop back on tomorrow. Okay, lots of love. This is my first time, so I got to figure out how to turn this off. Okay, bless.